What is going on? Welcome back to another episode, ladies and gentlemen. This is part 4, the final one for players that ruined your fantasy football season. I'm going to go over the top 4 or bottom 4, however you want to look at it, tight ends, guys that I had ranked pretty highly in my pre-draft rankings that absolutely crushed us and let us down. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on players and tight end position that did that for you so we can share our pain together. Make sure you like the video if you enjoy the content, and please subscribe as well. Relentless Press is well on our way to our first 1,000 subscribers. You can be a part of that if you have not done it yet by clicking that button for me. And we're gonna start with one of my favorite players at the position who did not bring home the bacon for us this year. That is Darren Waller. I had him at tight end number 4 in the pre-draft process. He did finish inside the top 30, but just barely. Now, when Waller plays, he is a dominant force on the football field. He makes an impact not only in our lineups, but for his team as well. He's averaged over 12 yards a catch in 4 of the past 5 seasons. He was supposed to step into an easier role this year with defenses keying in on newly acquired Devontae Adams. There was massive upside to be had in this Raiders offense that looked very dangerous heading into this season, so it is no surprise that he was a consensus top 5 tight end off of the board. However, for the second consecutive year, Waller struggled to stay on the field. Half of the games finished in 2022, he was a top 10 option on the week. You have to love that. But being absent from weeks 5 to week 14 gave owners really little as far as other options to look for. Spending a premium pick on the position is supposed to solidify that spot so you do not have to stream and hope. Waller did not provide that this season in the slightest. He was a big letdown for you if you ended up drafting him. The next guy who really killed us was Kyle Pitts. I had him inside of my top 5, although lower than consensus. He was a finisher outside of the top 30. He finished as tight end 31. He had sky high hopes coming into the year. He was fresh off of one of the best seasons by a tight end in NFL history, especially for a rookie, and drafters saw glimpses of the next Travis Kelce racking up points for their team. We ignored the fact that Atlanta was going to be horrible because we thought at worst it would mean garbage time and opportunity, and at best he would be a wide receiver that we were allowed to plug into our tight end position. Atlanta, however, had different plans. They were so run heavy at times they legitimately showed that they would rather lose a game in a blowout than to try and throw the football. So that ended up meaning minimal opportunities. Pitts saw over 5 targets just twice in his first 7 games. He surpassed 30 yards just 3 times in 10 tries. It was almost merciful that he let owners off of the hook by going down with a knee injury, because at least then they could move on from him and try to find someone who is going to give them some more production instead of hoping and praying that one of their top picks would just magically rebound. Pitts was one of the biggest busts at any position this season, and at the thinnest position in the entire game. That impact cannot be overstated. He absolutely crushed our hopes for 2022. Now, I will admit, after those 2 guys, it is hard to say that anyone really cost you your league because the drop off at tight end is fairly significant. But if you drafted either of these last 2 players, you were certainly hurt more than you should have been at the position. The first one is Mike Gesicki. I had him as a top 10 guy at the tight end position. He barely finished as a tight end 2. He was coming off of 3 straight seasons of solid production, and he rose into the top 10 because of that on draft day. He'd seen opportunity rise in back-to-back years. He had a slew of weapons around him that were supposed to give him plus matchups as well. When you look at his quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, he was ascending and was also a popular breakout candidate. So what went wrong here? Unfortunately, just about everything for Gesicki. The offensive line did not take that step forward that we thought it would, not by a long shot. and because of that, his role as a pass catcher diminished significantly. Instead of being able to dominate linebackers in coverage, he was forced to stay back, try to block, and give more time for Tua in the passing game. When Miami did throw it, it was Jalen Waddle, it was Tyreek Hill. Both of those guys absolutely dominated the targets, and rightfully so, because they were absolutely awesome. Gesicki never really had a chance to shine in 2022, and if you banked on a coming out party from him, you were sorely disappointed. The last tight end we're gonna look at hurts my soul a little bit. It is Irv Smith Jr. I had him as a top 13 guy. He didn't even finish in the top 40. He was easily my worst homer pick of the season, but I swear to you, there were good reasons for it. Minnesota's offense did become the top 10 team that I thought they would be, and it was led by the passing attack. Justin Jefferson, who was my #1 overall wide receiver, that worked out well. Adam Thielen was there. There was an emerging KJ Osborne to worry about for defenses as well. That middle of the field was going to be ripe for the picking, and it ended up being exactly that. It just was not Smith at tight end who took advantage of it. The opportunities were mostly there for him. However, Smith failed to do much with them. He maxed out at 42 yards in week 5 against Chicago. Irv was never able to really stay healthy or reach his potential, so all that perceived upside ended up being smoke and mirrors, as it had been for his first 2 seasons. We know the rest is history. The Vikings trade for TJ Hawkinson, who goes on to have the tight end 2 overall finish. If you drafted one of these 4 tight ends, you probably were hurt pretty significantly by it. They crushed any hopes of a big season from that position, and they probably made you stream, as most of us have to do, the tight end position all season long. That is all I have for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Drop your comments about tight ends that killed you as well, so we can share in the pain together. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed the content, and please subscribe as well if you have not done so already. Make sure you keep your eyes out, because I have done videos in this same vein for quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers as well. And then coming out in the next week or 2, I also have fantasy football MVPs. Basically the exact opposite of this. These are guys that overperformed their ADPs and helped you take home a championship. Have a fantastic week. This is Relentless Press. I'm your host, Abriam Opatz, and I will see you